How's it going, everybody? We got some changes to Cosmic Crucible Season 16 that's going to be implemented today. That's right. When the trial starts, the rooms are not exactly going to be the same as we saw last week. We're going to talk about what the replacements are, why things were changed, what I'm going to do because of the change, and maybe just the vibe shift Crucible took because of this. It's kind of crazy, kind of a wild correction. I'll talk about what I would have done instead. All right, Commanders. We are replacing stages 3 and stages 6 of the current season of Cosmic Crucible and replacing them with the following. So let's go over the replacements real quick. Stage 3, the best offense. On defense and offense, all characters on turn bury yourself for 5% of that character's max health and flip offense down on self. So if they have offense down, it'll become offense up. On turn, if this character's barrier is above 50%, they gain offense up. So another way to gain offense up. But barrier, how many characters are really getting above that 50%? It's going to be pretty much a nothing room. The one exception could be the new Fantastic Four team. When Franklin comes and Reed Richards isn't as slow as, paint drying or grass growing, maybe the Reed Richards barrier with the Franklin and all that, maybe they could get up there. Maybe Johnny Storm gives them offense up anyway, so who cares? It's kind of a weird room, right? It kind of feels like a nothing room, if you ask me. Then we got Stage 6, Health Insurance. We've seen this one before. On defense and offense, on turn, characters remove all positive effects from self and heal for 10% of max health for each positive effect removed. This does mean that if you are relying on buffs, say like offense up from Kang, that's going to get removed before he actually gets to do his attack. So this is a slightly more interesting room, but it's on the tamer side as well. And like I say, we're actively working with Dacier, the winner of the last Envoy 5C tournament, to come up with the Room 6 rules for Season 17. So there probably won't be an Envoy tournament then, and they're just going to have him do the next season, which is fine because his room got demolished. And let's talk about what those rooms were. They were pretty ambitious, especially the Dacier room. Very ambitious. So let's go down to Stage 3. On defense and offense, all characters. Anytime a character gains ability energy from an active ability, they gain +1 energy. That would be something like Endgame Thanos gets energy when somebody hits into an expose. That is an active, so it goes 2. When an enemy character dies, allied characters gain 1 ability energy. This did not compound with the rule above. But when an enemy dies, you get ability energy. However, ultimate abilities cost 3 more ability energy. The reason stated for taking this out, I believe, is because there was a lot of people on the blubbery side of the ocean that didn't at first understand that in this room you will never get to ult turn 1. It doesn't matter if you do a burn attack and then you go back in, the enemies will never ult turn 1 because the ultimate abilities costing 3 more ability energy happens at the start of the match. It's not a consistent thing. It doesn't change the program of the character's kits that say who's a low cooldown ult. I don't even know. Let's say Invisible Woman's ult is a 5 cost ability, okay? When Invisible Woman loads into any fight, she starts at 5. But the room rules then add 3 more to her. So if she was, say, at 7 energy when the first fight ended, when she loads back in, she doesn't have 7 energy to fill. She has 5. So it goes to 5. And then the room rules kick in after she spawns in, and then she needs that 3 more so that she can actually ult. People didn't get that. So what was this causing? This was causing Mephistos to never ult turn 1 after somebody did a burn attack into it. Same with Professor X's, and it led to easier clears of those rooms. I don't think that's a big deal. I don't think this needed to be removed at all. Don't put those characters in this room. Understand how this room works. That's all it came down to, because this room was interesting. So it nerfed those defenses, but it actually increased other defenses because there's a lot of teams that rely on their opening ults. Starjammers, Havoc relies on his ult. Accursed, all of them rely on their ultimates, right? Even Immortals, who rely on their specials, Storm can't ult turn 2 unless you get kills here. So this was a very, very interesting room, and I don't think that this room should have been taken down. I think that it should have just been said, that's the way it's worked, guys. That's the way it worked the last time we had this room. What was the problem there? Why weren't you complaining then? Figure it out. Just figure it out. All right. Stage 6, Dacier room. Now this one needed a lot of, it needed something, okay. This was very ambitious. If you have at least one city ally, ally special abilities cost 2 less. This was not working. This just made all city characters have 2 less ability costs on their special. If you have at least one global ally, when attacked, allies feel speed by 5%. This also didn't work, or it worked too much. I had a fight where it was like an Odin Professor X team, and I killed everybody but the Odin, and then I came back in and Odin got speed bar, and I couldn't kill him because I didn't have a speed bar team because I didn't think I needed one, because hey, it's just Odin. There's no global ally, he's not going to get speed bar, and I actually lost the Crucible because of that. I literally couldn't clear. And that's like we understood, okay, it's just active all the time. And then the Cosmic Ally one. Any ultimate abilities cost 2 more ability energy. This was also just active the whole time. You did not have to have a Cosmic Ally. It was active the whole time. And what they should have done is just taken all qualifiers off. Don't take the whole damn room down. Just say, in this room ability, special abilities cost 2 less for everybody. When attacked, you gain speed bar for everybody. Enemy ultimate abilities cost 2 more ability energy for everybody. Presto changeo, you fixed it. However, I think there is a very, very, very obvious reason why that wasn't going to be the change. We can head over there and look at it for a second. And that's because there's one team that's fairly new that needs their ults to work. And we talked, actually, you know what? There's 2 teams. Sue needs to ult. Johnny needs to ult. Franklin wants to ult. Thing wants to ult. So it also would have made the Fantastic Four team feel really obsolete this season as well. But I think the big reason was because of Accursed. Accursed rely so heavily on this ult right here from Helverine. And if he can't do it, it's bad. Like, Satana's ult is really good. Don't get me wrong. Satana's ult, stealing like 66% of a character's life. So you can do them like endgame Thanos and bypass his whole passive. It's huge. It does giant heals. It's awesome. But she's also doing really cool stuff on her passive, stopping you from getting all kinds of debuffs, this, that, and the other. Helverine's ultimate kills the entire team, flips all their buffs, and if you can't do this, you just lose. And that's what was happening for a lot of Accursed fights. So I think the Accursed were just looking so bad. People have been pooping on them so much. We have data mines suggesting that they are going to be needed, like mandatory, for the Quasar Scourge. I think they want people to feel good about building the Accursed team. And I can actually vibe with that. I can get down with that. Yes, make the Accursed team not suck. However, we also see just how easy it is to make them suck. And yeah, they took down 2 rooms that both had screw your ultimate ability energy. But we've seen those rooms so many times in the past. It's just like, okay, next season they put that room in, and then Accursed suck next season. So it's like a mirage of viability. With that said, I'm not going to poo-poo on the Accursed team. They are actually amazing in Crucible when scaled up. When you get high stars, when you start activating those diamonds, they're crazy. They could beat Professor X teams, which is bonkers. It's still really volatile. There's still RNG to it, but they smash most other things. They have some glaring weaknesses, though. So when you have those glaring weaknesses, speed stat, and you compound that with having rooms that they don't function in, I think the Accursed team was just getting so much hate that rather than reworking them, because if you rework them, that would actually change a lot. If you gave them like some sort of speed from some source, it would make them maybe too good, which is kind of a weird thing to say based on how they're currently performing, right? But I think this was their solution. I didn't love the solution. Like I said, what I would have done is I would have left stage 3 because just figure it out. It was the first week. You took an L to it. It's okay. I took an L to stage 6. I didn't cry about it. All right, and for stage 6, take the qualifiers off and let it be a crazy room. Hey, everybody gets all this stuff? Oh, shit. Let it be crazy. It's kind of boring now. But hey, we just got to deal with it, right? So it is kind of boring now. Let me run you through my new defense. Not much has changed in the way of the teams that I'm putting on defense. Actually, that's not true. I changed a lot after the first week based on how poorly my defense held against an overpowered disadvantage. I had to put more on defense to even have a shot at things, and I moved a lot of rooms around based on what my enemies did that really tripped me up. Stage 1, this is my Professor X room now. And they should all have, not this, they should all have Skirmisher, and they don't. I'm going to have to go ahead and equip that to all of them. I must have done it on Scotty's account, but not mine. Yeah, they all need to have Skirmisher except for the Mephisto, who's going to be keeping that Striker. This team feels like it is harder to 2-tap. Still very, very viable to 2-tap it with an Odin if you get a good burn going. But yeah, we needed to move Professor X out of stages 3 and stage 6 last week. Doesn't matter now because the alts were not working. Stage 2, we got our Vigilante team. Let me go hide this. You guys see it also. Doesn't really matter. The Vigilante team did decent in 1 match and horrible in 5. But there's not much else I want to put here except maybe we can throw our Phoenix Force team back here and kind of mirror what we did in the U32, which did work. It was somewhat interesting, but I have a different room that I'm kind of interested to see how they play it. So, yeah, we kept Vigilante here. Very easily countered. It is what it is. I'm going to leave it here. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, like, if someone comes in here with, like, an Apocalypse, a Songbird, and a bunch of fast characters above 128, they're going to crush you. If they come in here with a Vigilante mirror match, they could absolutely still get pretty good efficiency on you. 1 match, my Daredevil resisted all of the strips, and it was really bad on the efficiency for them. So I'm going to leave it there, at least for now. I'm playing around with the idea of switching that one, though. That would be the first room I'll be looking to switch. The best offense. This is one of the new rooms, so on turn barrier up 5%. Blah, blah, blah. If they have the barrier, they get offense up. I'm just going to be keeping my Night Stalkers here. I had Void Knight here because this was a pretty good room last week in stage 6. I will likely be taking Void Knight off and putting someone slightly more interesting here. I could conceivably put my Scientist Supreme here, simply because she gives the slow and she gives the offense down, and then Blade flips that, and it's kind of interesting. So I'm playing around with that idea. I'm also playing around with Apocalypse, who I actually have on a different team, which you're going to see because it takes away all the Fog of War stuff. And I was just playing around with the idea of putting Nightcrawler here. I think Nightcrawler is actually kind of interesting too. It makes the enemy have to answer 2 things: speed stat and speed up. Of course, something like Starjammers comes in, demolishes it. And I mean, if I can pull Starjammers with a team like this, that's a big W in my book. Actually, you know what? Yeah, for now, I'm actually going to go ahead and throw Nightcrawler here for now. For now, tentative. I actually am open to changing this team. All right, pretend you don't see this, guys. You don't see any of this stuff, okay? All right? If you don't see this, it's all a joke. Okay. Solar Annihilation. This is still our Starjammer room where Annihilators kind of Starjammers. We're putting Superior 6 Quasar here. Quasar gives this guy his immunity, kind of makes it a little bit messy. The other alternative is to not put Quasar here and put Super Skrull. I think that is also somewhat interesting and definitely viable. If you prefer to have your Quasar because of his high damage, maybe gear tier 20 to him, and he's kind of more viable. Again, pretend you don't see this. I can see that being a thing. But the immunity onto the Doc Ock with the safeguard that I believe Kraven provides on spawn, and then it's either Goblin or Lizard renews it, was actually really annoying. That immunity could be interesting. Where I play at, not so much because they just get overpowered and killed. But somebody tried to put Annihilators with Starjammers here. We crushed it with such fervor. And then they couldn't clear one of the other rooms that we had up because they have their Starjammers on defense. So I think that's kind of interesting. But if you have a very lax defense, like if I put like Liberty up here, and I mean maybe Vigilante is seen as one of those stupid easy teams, then they could conceivably sacrifice their Starjammers to defense and not be too stretched by your defense. Depends on what you have, right? All right, the while you're down room, unsuccessful hit. The primary target has trauma from an ISO attack. I have my Black Knight, Gohori, Omega Sentinel, and Emma in here. And I'm actually putting Apocalypse in here for a little bit extra damage. I didn't find I needed Apocalypse much last week. And it's just like there's a little bit of resistance on the first hit. There's damage and health to Gohori. My characters, my Omega Sentinel and my Gohori, are not geared to 20. I'm actually considering trying to remedy that because this is a very, very good defense that if they come in here and they don't come correct, it could cause issues. And I also like the Apocalypse stops the safeguard. The on-spot safeguard. So I actually like this team. I don't find I'm losing too much by having this here. The Emma's obviously the odd link here, but she lets you go before Immortals. Somewhat protects you from that counter, so I kind of like this guy. And then we got Health Insurance. This is the other new one. On turn, clear all positive effects from self. Heal 10% of that character's max health for each positive effect removed. And this is where I'm going to be keeping my Annihilators with Phoenix Force. And the reason being, these guys get Safeguard a lot, right? The Phoenix Force team and Gladiator all spawn with Safeguard. Gore applies the Safeguard before the endgame Thanos goes. The Phoenix Force team also makes it so that you can't get trauma, but more importantly, makes it so that the enemy can't gain Safeguard. So when the enemy goes, let's say Immortals, for instance, they go I forget when Storm gets the speed up, but she might get her speed up immediately removed, which would ruin the immortal counter into this room. Cabal wouldn't get Safeguard because of the Phoenix Force, and then they would immediately get all their buffs removed. So I think the Phoenix Force is actually quite interesting in this room. Not nearly as interesting as what Daysphere's rules would have been, but it's something. It's definitely something. Yeah, so that's what I'm having on defense. Let's talk about the vibe of Crucible before we take off. We're going to end the video here soon. The vibe of Crucible that I'm getting from a lot of the most vocal players is that, like, they just ruined the best season of Crucible. All right, it's like the 5th time I've re-recorded this because I keep going on like these 10-minute rants about some things, and it's just not productive. It would make the video too long. Okay. The vibes from changing those 2 rooms ain't great. I know that us here on YouTube and Twitch, whether it's content creator or people that follow content creators, we are the very, very loud minority of players. Like, more players play this game. I think it's probably like 80% of players who play this game probably don't watch a single YouTube stream or a Twitch stream or YouTube video, probably, right? We want more interesting content. Taking away stages 3 and 6 and putting kind of these like vanilla rooms in there just doesn't do it for us. It takes away the creativity. It allows for just kind of like power rankings almost, where it's like, okay, your teams are bigger than mine. This is a vanilla room, so you're just gonna win because I can't stretch your Accursed because there's a you can't alt turn 1 room. They had 2 of those rooms. I took them both out. It's not like they didn't leave one, so I can put my Phoenix Force there, and then they have to risk an immortal hit on it. No, they take them both away, so Accursed can just go in there and beat it every single time, because Accursed doesn't do good on defense, and what the hell are you gonna do? I put Star Gems on defense, I could just mirror it, right? So I think a lot of players are getting a little bit annoyed. A lot of active players are getting a little bit annoyed that we're actually not really getting much to put on defense in both War and Crucible, actually. I'm hearing that from a lot of players on the War front as well, where it's some players quit because it took too long and it's too complicated. Now they're trying to write that ship, and maybe they overcorrected and they're making it too boring, too easy. Instead of playing chess, we're playing like snakes and ladders. You know what I mean? Like, we're just rolling dice, and whatever it lands on, as opposed to like we get to make moves, we get to set traps and stuff like that. That's what it feels like, and it almost feels like PvE is kind of mirroring that too, if I'm being honest. You know, the Scourges, they're doing a little bit of a better job adding some actual punishing Scourges in there, but we went from Morgan Le Fay, we had like 50 different things you can pick from. All of them were making things harder to like the 5 or 6 we have. And that doesn't help that the leaderboards are cosmetics, and honestly a very bad cosmetics, like a frame, right? Like, if you want to do cosmetic, it should have been a Quasar skin. That would get people, I think, pushing that Scourge with all the different effects and everything a lot more than nothing. But I think they're gonna have to revisit adding rewarding materials into those things to get people actually excited about these events. Sword Satellite, we've had the same damn final stage for like a year and a half, which is crazy, right? Like, I think people are getting bored. I think that the formula, the gameplay of Marvel Strike Force can be great. And people were really excited about these rooms for Crucible because they had different ideas they were going to test with throughout the season. They saw how things kind of worked the first week, and they were able to adapt to it, and they wanted to see how it was going to go. And then they just kind of, you know, pulled that rug. And God knows what the real reason is. It could have been because it just shows Accursed in such a bad light. It could have been, I think there's some rumors, there's some people just didn't like the way some rules were working. I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of comments in different YouTube videos about that. I have no idea. But yeah, vibes ain't good. I'm going to end up ranting for another 7 minutes, and I'm probably going to pivot to Overpowered soon. So let's just end this video here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. We'll have that early blog access for you guys soon. But for now, stay happy, stay healthy, have yourselves a wonderful weekend if I don't see you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.